Okay, hello and welcome to Professor Bustos-Fernández from Argentina. He's a professor of gastroenterology in Buenos Aires, and he took a long trip to come to the International Expert Summit to Bangkok for microbiome. He's a specialist in this field, and so we would like to ask him what was the real reason to take this long trip.
Oh, thank you so much for the presentation, and I'm really glad to be here because my main interest in my country and perhaps in Latin America is to work in neurogastroenterology, and the neurogastroenterology nowadays have a very strong relationship with the microbiota. So the possibility to increase my knowledge with very important processors is very important for me. And
But as the gut-brain axis is in discussion worldwide?
yeah, that's right. I have the possibility to participate in a meeting, a very important meeting in Houston 2 years ago, talking about the gut-brain relationship. And now there is a possibility to talk about the gut-brain microbiota axis. And I think that perhaps this could be the future of very important treatments for different diseases.
So the modulation of the microbiota may be the key to cure some illness?
Yeah, that's right. Because the modulation of the microbiota have different steps. It begins with diet, but then it's possible to modify with probiotics too. So I think that not only for gastrointestinal diseases, but from gynecologists and what happened with neurologists and the people that metabolic diseases like obesity, they're going to improve their symptoms when they manage the microbiota.
And as we are now on an international scene here, is it the same to treat people in your country, or let's say in South America, as well as in Europe, as well as in Asia? May there be differences between?
Yeah, there is a very important question because when the people talk about dysbiosis, it's not exactly the same the dysbiosis that you have in Latin America, than in Europe, that perhaps in Asia. So perhaps the future could be to understand what is the real ecosystem that have different regions of the world, and then trying to find specific probiotics that they're going to improve that ecosystem. I think that that is going to be the future of this so interesting subject.
You mentioned specific probiotics. So that is a wide range, we know. We are using them or knowing them from foods, from traditional foods, perhaps here in Asia, fermented like kimchi. On the other hand, we have registered pharmaceuticals. Can you give an overview what you would recommend to treat, which probiotic perhaps is specific for which indication?
Yeah, I think that it's important to talk about that because when you are talking about diet, there is like functional products that you can eat it in yogurts and whatever, but sometimes it's easier to try to find a specific probiotics in the pharmaceutical point of view that have a specific indications and perhaps the evidence that the science can produce from this kind of product say that perhaps this is going to be better for this kind of disease or another kind of disease.
Regarding evidence, do we know everything, how this system is working, or are we just at the beginning, or did we make some good steps and have to do more research? What is, in this way, your opinion?
No, that's absolutely right. That we need more and more and more research because we need to have more knowledge about what is happening with the microbiota. So sometimes the people or the physician thinks, okay, that is good that we can find some probiotic, but I think that we need more research to see what happened. For instance, if it is possible with only one type of microbiotic or for probiotic, or perhaps you have to make a mixture between different ones, and perhaps to use not only a probiotic, but a prebiotic too. So I think that we are in the beginning of a beautiful history, and we need a lot of research to increase our knowledge about this subject.
So this therapy is just at the moment more done in clinics, or is it also spread to the general practitioners in the field?
No, we can. I think that it's very important the information that we can give to the general practitioners to try to increase the knowledge to that kind of physicians too. Because that is the one that have more contact with the real problems that they have, the patients. So if we give them some information or more information about this kind of treatments, this is going to be very useful.
So it also may be patients to ask not to take a probiotic, perhaps look at immunosuppressed people. And on the other hand, we have an OTC business worldwide too. So a pharmacist may also play a big role in this field. Is there a direct interaction between practitioners and pharmacists?
Yeah, perhaps there is a great contact between patients and pharmacists.
That's true, yeah.
I think that it's going to be better to give information to everyone, for information to patients, information from general practitioners and pharmacists too, because the safety of the probiotics is generally good. But we don't know exactly if we are talking about, for instance, immunosuppressive patients. I don't know that we have to pay more attention about this kind of specific subjects.
From your point of view, what is the newest and the latest highlight in probiotic research and microbiome research?
Yeah, I think that what is happening about IBD, for instance, and for instance in IBS too, the management of obesity, what happened with metabolic disorders, and I think that this will be the most important points of interest to study and to make research and to try to find a specific probiotic for that kind of diseases.
So, final question, what would be your result, your take-home message to be spread in your country to your colleagues?
Yeah, my main message is the management of the intestinal microbiota is going to be, and is very important. And we have to think about that if we manage this kind of physiological thing, that is this like a new organ that we have in our intestine, is going to be very useful for our patients.
Prof. Bustos-Fernández, thank you very much for your time and have a nice and interesting conference.
Okay, thank you for all.